There are Olympic moments that fade after the highlights end. And then there are Olympic moments that stay with you. The kind that give you chills weeks later. The kind you replay in your head when you think about what this country stands for. When Alysa Liu stepped onto the Olympic ice and delivered the performance of her life, it wasn't just another competition. It wasn't just about technical scores, rotations, or execution. It felt bigger. It felt like a young American standing on the world stage and saying, without a single word, "This is my home. This is who I represent." And when she won gold for the United States, something shifted in the air. You could feel it. You could see it in the faces of fans. You could hear it in the way the arena erupted. You could sense it across living rooms all over America. Because this was not just a medal. This was a moment. Let's rewind for a second. Alysa Liu's journey didn't begin with bright lights and Olympic glory. It started the way most American dreams do. Early mornings. Long drives. Sacrifice. A family believing in a child's passion enough to pour everything into it. Born and raised in the United States to Chinese immigrant parents, Alysa grew up in a uniquely American space. A home where heritage mattered, where culture was honored, but also a country that shaped her identity, her language, her opportunities. And when you grow up balancing those worlds, identity isn't theoretical. It's lived. There were whispers over the years. Conversations about what federation she could represent. Speculation from outsiders who like to treat athletes as geopolitical chess pieces. But Alysa made her choice clear. She skated for Team USA. Not for attention. Not for headlines. Just because it was hers. And that's what made this Olympic gold feel different. The performance itself was electric. Every jump felt intentional. Every landing controlled. Every spin centered with precision that comes only from years of discipline.
But beyond the technique, there was something else in her skating. Freedom. She wasn't skating cautiously. She wasn't skating burdened. She skated like someone who knew exactly why she was there. You could see it in her posture. In her facial expression. In the way she attacked her combinations with confidence. When that final note of music hit, and she struck her ending pose, there was that split second of silence. And then the roar. That roar wasn't just appreciation for athletic brilliance. It was pride. American pride. We talk a lot about patriotism in this country. Sometimes loudly. Sometimes divisively. But this felt different. This felt pure. It wasn't political speeches. It wasn't social media arguments. It wasn't manufactured drama. It was a young American woman who had every reason in the world to feel pressure, stepping up and delivering gold for the flag she chose. That word matters. Chose. Because patriotism means something different when it's voluntary. When it's conscious. When it's not assumed but embraced. Alysa Liu didn't inherit that choice passively. She made it. And she backed it up with excellence. As the medal ceremony began, cameras zoomed in on her face. You could see it building. When the American flag started to rise and the national anthem began to play, there was emotion in her eyes that you can't fake. It wasn't rehearsed. It wasn't dramatic for the cameras. It was human. It was the realization of years of work, years of identity questions, years of expectation. And now she stood at the top of the Olympic podium with gold around her neck, representing the country that raised her. If you didn't feel something in that moment, check your pulse. Because for millions watching at home, that anthem hit differently.
This moment carries weight because it represents something central to the American story. The United States is a country built by immigrants. Built by families who came here for opportunity, freedom, and possibility. Alysa embodies that narrative in modern form. She represents a generation that is globally aware, culturally layered, and proudly American at the same time. There is strength in that duality. There is power in being able to honor your roots while fully embracing your country. And when she won gold, she showed that those identities are not contradictions. They are strengths. It also takes incredible mental toughness to compete under that spotlight. Imagine being a teenager or young adult and having the internet debate your loyalty. Imagine strangers discussing which country you should represent because of your background. That's a lot to carry. But she didn't respond with anger. She responded with performance. She let her skating do the talking. And when you answer pressure with excellence, that speaks louder than any statement ever could. There's also something beautiful about the quiet way she represents patriotism. It's not loud. It's not aggressive. It's not hostile toward anyone else. It's simply pride. And that's important. Because loving your country doesn't require hating another one. It doesn't require insults or comparisons. It requires commitment, effort, integrity. She showed all three. For young athletes across America, especially kids growing up in immigrant households, this moment matters deeply. Somewhere in California, a little girl watching that gold medal ceremony saw possibility. Somewhere in Texas, a child balancing two languages at home saw representation. Somewhere in New York, a young skater tying her first pair of skates saw a future. That's what Olympic moments are supposed to do. Inspire. Unite. Remind us that greatness can come from any neighborhood, any background, any family story.
Let's also acknowledge the athletic brilliance. Figure skating at the Olympic level is unforgiving. One missed edge. One under-rotated jump. One slight hesitation can mean the difference between gold and fourth place. And she delivered under maximum pressure. That's not luck. That's preparation meeting opportunity. That's years of repetition when nobody is watching. That's falling hundreds of times and getting back up. That's resilience. When Americans talk about grit, this is what they mean. In the broader history of U.S. figure skating, her name now stands proudly among legends. Kristi Yamaguchi inspired a generation. Tara Lipinski shocked the world with youthful brilliance. Michelle Kwan carried a nation's hopes with elegance. And now Alysa Liu has written her own chapter. But what makes her chapter unique is the era she represents. An era of global tension. An era where identity conversations are amplified. An era where athletes are scrutinized beyond sport. And she still found a way to skate freely. That freedom is symbolic. For many Americans, this will sit comfortably in the top 10 Olympic moments of their lifetime. Not because it was dramatic controversy. Not because it was shocking upset. But because it felt meaningful. Because it reminded people what the Olympics can be at their best. A stage where individuals rise not because of politics, but because of dedication. A stage where flags represent dreams fulfilled. A stage where the anthem isn't background noise, but the soundtrack of sacrifice rewarded. And let's not forget, she is still young. This gold medal is not just a peak. It's a beginning. What she does next in her career will matter. But no matter what comes, this moment is secured in history. She chose America. She skated for America. She won gold for America. And in doing so, she gave millions of Americans something rare in today's world. A shared, uncomplicated feeling of pride.
There's something incredibly powerful about watching someone who doesn't shout their loyalty, but proves it. She didn't need a speech. She didn't need a viral rant. She needed blades, ice, and 4 minutes of brilliance. And that was enough. For veterans who served under the same flag. For immigrants who built new lives under that flag. For kids who pledge allegiance every morning in school. For parents who believe in the American dream. This gold medal felt personal. Years from now, when people talk about unforgettable Olympic moments, they'll remember the jumps, the scores, the tears. But many will remember something deeper. They'll remember how it felt. How it reminded them that patriotism can still be joyful. That excellence can still unify. That a young woman with dual heritage can stand on top of the world and say, through her actions, I am proudly American. And America answered back. With applause. With gratitude. With love. That's why this moment matters. That's why it belongs in the top tier of Olympic memories. And that's why, for so many of us, seeing Alysa Liu win gold wasn't just sports. It was a reminder of what this country can be at its best.